Hey, this is Tristan doing the Feature Custom NPC and Item Tool project. Here, this is my Trello board. Here's all the documentations and the rubric that I have for the sprint, which is everything done. This is the background, everything that's just in the background, not doing anything. The tree, I wanted a tree in the middle, flowers around for decoration, the fruit, which is the tool to be eaten, the ground, the cage around, because it's in a zoo. I wanted a day-night cycle, and this was in the background because it's the light turning off and on. I can hear the light changing. I wanted the ground to have a grass color. The branches added to the tree so it looks more like a real tree, and I wanted color added to everything to make it look more finalized. In the bat NPC, which is the thing that's moving around, the animal in the zoo, I wanted it to move based on time and randomly. I wanted the timer for the character so when it's eating, it has a timer going. I wanted to only go for food at night, and I wanted it to sleep at the end of the day. And wherever it's eating, it spits out the seeds of the fruit. I wanted it to stop eating when it's full. I wanted to make sure it can't escape the cage and go out of bounds. I also wanted to make sure that it didn't get stuck on anything, so it just ruined the project. I wanted to make sure that it turning didn't break, so whenever it turns around, it doesn't hit anything or make it clip out of the world. And I wanted to make sure the speed was consistent, so it never sped up or slowed down randomly. And for the NPC tool item, I want to make sure the food gets destroyed after the bat eats it. I wanted to make sure that the bat can get to it. I want to make sure that it gives 2 pieces of food whenever it's eaten. I want to make sure it gets eaten slowly, not instantaneous, so it looks like it's actually eating. I want to make it look like fruit since it is a fruit bat. I want to make sure it has its own script, so it separates it, making it easier to look at. I want to make sure that it can be referenced by the bat script. I want to make sure that there are multiple fruits so that it doesn't only eat one and then that's it. I want to make sure that it can have multiple to get to. I want to make sure that works with the theme, again, like fruit, so fruit bat. And then I want to make sure it's color so it does look finalized. And now for the document. This is the NPC one for the bat. Its name is the Mega Bat, or again a fruit bat, or a flying fox, or multiple names. The behavior is that it flies. The visual, it's brown with a 5-foot wingspan, but in game it's just want to make sure that it's bigger than the body would be. Location would be near the tree. It's a fruit bat. The diet is fruit or nectar, but it just eats fruit. Sleeps during the day. And the lifespan is 25 years, but in the game it's not gonna die. So there's 2 different fruit bats. It's the sleeping one and the moving one. And while it sleeps, it doesn't move, so its speed is 0. Its health doesn't change when it's eating. The size would change, but it still keeps the wingspan. It's not hungry when it's sleeping, and it doesn't drop anything when it's sleeping. The moving one has, in real life, it can move 90 miles per hour, but I just wanted to make sure it was fast. That was kind of like a template, like real life would be a template for the game, so I just want to make sure it moves fast. It has 10 health. Not that it ever gets damaged, but the size is, again, 5 feet, so the wingspans are bigger than the body. It's the big thing I want to get by. And then it needs 3 units of food. So the fruit gets 2, so it needs to eat 2 fruit. It's used for eating fruit. In real life, it's for spreading pollen and seeds. It drops seeds whenever it eats fruit in the game, but it has nothing to do with flowers. The environment is usually sleeps in trees or in caves. There's no cave, it's just a tree in the game. The events is nighttime and daytime, so the changing of the time whenever it's hungry and whenever it's full is what changes it. It interacts with the fruit behavior. It only flies, eats, and sleeps. And that's it for the fruit bat. For the tool, the fruit, the fruits grow on trees. It's food for the bat. It's just like a sphere, and it doesn't move, so it's static. It only gets, whenever it's eaten, it disappears. So it has no speed, gives 2 food for the bat. It interacts with the bat, and whenever it's whenever it's done eating, so like whenever it's gone, I put not eaten for that. It doesn't exist, so it's you have to be next to the fruit to eat it, and it has a 2-day growth cycle, so it takes 2 days to grow back. That's not the value ranges. Once it gets eaten, be even grin in 2 days. It's used for food for the bat to fill up the 3 hunger it has, and it's static. And that's now moving on to the game. We're gonna play and watch it happen. First thing that happens is that since it's daytime, it's gonna immediately go to its sleeping spot, which is this one spot of the tree. The day and night cycles are 20 seconds each, used by time.delta time. So whenever it reaches 20 seconds right here, it'll be nighttime, and then it's gonna go start eating. So there it goes, eats that fruit, and then it goes down to eat that fruit. Okay, so it whenever it's done eating, which it is, it'll move randomly around the map, and then once it reaches daytime, it'll go back to the spot. So we're gonna look in the script now. The bat script, it's the game object sun. This is used for the time day-night cycles on the bat script. So the sun would be the light, and it's just toggled on and off. Public float for time, which is what does the time day bool to turn it day and night. Speed of the bat. Public vector 3 is the sleeping spot of it. The private int is the RNG, the directional. Public float is the directional time to reset the movement. Another public float is food, like how hungry it is. It's the rigid body is the rigid body for the bat. The game object is C to instantiate it whenever it's done eating. The eating timer is 2 to make sure how long it eats. And then the private game object is how it finds food. So it gets the range 1 of 100, which tells it which direction to move, forward, backwards, left, and right. If the day is false and the food is less than 3, then it goes to find food, and that's how it knows it's hungry or not. The time adds time to add to 20, and whatever it is, it gets to 20, it resets to 0, and then it switches to night. This is all the direction. If the day is true, then it goes into the sleeping spot. The void on trigger stay is whenever it's eating the fruit. So if the tag is fruit and its food is less than 3, and then the day is false, so it's nighttime, then it goes out to eat food. And the timer, once the timer reaches less than 0, then it gets 1 food, and then it stops eating, and then it instantiates the seed. For the fruit one, it just gets destroyed after the timer on the bat. And that's all for the scripts in the game. And then I just did the feature sheet, and that's it.